Hello, and welcome to Borrow My Belief podcast that's designed to inspire you to live from your heart and do what you love. And I like to bring on guests who are doing things that are fulfillment for them rather than the daily norm. And today I've got Sam. And Sam, I met in the property world, who then got to know a little bit and then he diverted to a different world. And today we're going to talk about his process and how he's come to do more of what he loves. So, welcome, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really, really looking forward to where this goes. I'm always at the beginning of a podcast thinking, oh my God, what we're going to talk about. And you know that I don't plan it, it's
Yeah,
whatever comes
go
out.
with the flow.
Yeah. So, we met, I don't know when we met. Was it about a year and a half ago?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it would be. It would
Yeah.
exactly be about that, maybe just under a year and a half.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, I'm going to say about Octoberish. I think it was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously not that one the year before. So yeah, I think you're
And we
correct.
met in the property world, didn't we?
Yeah,
And we got talking, and you had similarities to my
yeah,
son in that I was recognized that you were into fitness, and my son was into fitness, and we had a chat about that. And I remember a conversation. I think it's really good to talk about this. A conversation we had at the time about how you were kind of swaying. You'd taken on this property education, and it's a lot of money,
yeah,
and you decided to go for it, but deep in your heart you were into the world of fitness, but you felt as though you had to do the property first to actualize the fitness. And then the next time I met you, you'd done a complete U-turn
yeah.
and you were diving right into your fitness. So I think probably best place to start is explain what got you into the property world and what your process was and just what happened.
Yeah, so it was an opportunity. It was my brother had a friend, now somebody was wanting to sell quick, he was moving away. And my brother's like, could you get a mortgage up for it? I went, yeah, go for it. Looks like a good deal. And we made money. And we thought, okay, this is good. This is good. This is good. We got kind of excited. And that's when we looked into like proper education. And when I was doing the proper education, we got like another deal as well. We're like, all right, this is great. And yeah, that's kind of how it momented. I thought, okay. And I've always wanted to do coaching. And I thought this would be the the bridge to the gap to give me financial freedom so
Mm.
I can then pursue my coaching. But when we met, that was at the time where it was like consuming me and took my full-time job, and I felt like I was pushing my coaching away. So
Okay. So just to explain where you were that day, because I remember thinking you, I just remember the conversation and where you were at, and it was as if you were kind of stuck in a position and in a place. And I guess a lot of people get like this because I remember myself in a situation like that that was different before. Both jobs that I've had, knowing what I truly wanted to do, and both jobs I've had over the last 20 years I've absolutely loved. And but each job got to a place where it was becoming more obvious that I wasn't as fulfilled as I was before, and being scared. So with property with you, you were seeing that as a place to financially get to you, a place to what you wanted to do. That's exactly what was happening for me in the
yeah,
job. But I was getting less and less fulfilled and more depleted. What was going on with you? Because it was like a mind thing with me.
yeah. I think, I was doing it for my dad and my brothers, and I think I was the forefront of getting the education, and they were always looking to me. So I was like, the pressure was on me. I was still working full time. I was training for competitions, and people ask me, "Oh, you're not getting coaching?" I was like, "I don't have time, but I will have time. I will have time when I'm free." I was like, "This isn't going to stop."
Yeah.
Do you know what I
And
mean? It was just,
how did you actually feel at the time?
I felt quite lonely. Probably the first time in my life felt lonely. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah, I could confidently say that. The first time in my life I felt by myself. Even though I had
Yeah.
good support around me, it was just the feeling of overwhelmed. Um,
Oh,
and it was one of the best things I've ever done as well. Learned so much about business. Um, mentally so good at business, felt learned so much of that. And my biggest flaw was I'd always I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but hold you back where I would wait and kind of raise the bar before starting things. I say, oh, before I start coaching, I need to win this competition. I need to master this skill. I need to do that instead of just doing it. And it was actually my old personal trainer. He's like, you're not going to be coaching you. You're coaching people who would love to get to you.
I
You know what I mean?
remember. So do you think part of you, uh, you might need to think about this question, but do you think at the time part of you was escaping into the property world and doing that because you were scared of putting yourself out there?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I can get really financially free here and then I'll try coaching. I was
Yeah.
like, and I knew I was a coach because all I do at like, these meetups and my friends and family and workmates, I'm just coaching all the time because it's like, I think that's how I was to really hit it off when we met in property because we didn't talk about property.
No,
We
no,
didn't.
no.
I
And
was talking about property. I'm just fitness and you're telling me about your stuff. And it was just, that's how we kind of really clicked.
so this podcast is all about heart-led living, right? And
Yeah.
designed to show people that you can do it. Because I know there was a time in my life where I would dream about what I'm doing now, but my
Yeah.
head could not, was all scrambled. It was always possible, it was always there, but I couldn't see that it was possible. And that was the same for you, wasn't it? It was there, it was possible, other people can see it for you, but you can't see it.
No, no.
And can you describe, so the difference between the feeling of, well, I've got to make this property thing work so that I can do this, and the feeling of just doing this?
Yeah, yeah, just doing it. And as well, it was like because of that first deal, I know I'm a young guy. I'm 33. This was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, making money. It was, and I'm not really that money orientated that much. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's good to be business minded, but when I was chasing it, I was just, I felt like I was pushing my coaching dream away. And I was like, when would this stop? Do you know what I mean? When's this?
It would deplete you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And
I'm part of another group I've been in for 5 years now, and the leader of that group um has built, well, he knows a lot of very wealthy people who are unhappy. It's a digital marketing group, and he talks about take your time and really, he talks about staying in your job
yeah,
and not doing something silly like what I did a few years ago. You know, it's really funny because a few years ago I did jump out of a job, and I listened to his video right after and thought, oh God, I've actually done what he says not to do. He talks about taking your time, really feeling in, not doing any get rich quick schemes about, stay with your job, don't like run off and do whatever, but start to think about what does fulfill you, what
yeah,
what can you do that fulfills you. And clearly that's what you've actually ended up
yeah,
doing. You're now, I mean, I was really surprised when we'd had that conversation. You told me head down, I'm doing the property, and then the very next event I go, I didn't meet you, I met your dad. So
yeah.
so what was actually the moment when you realized what you needed to do, and how did that come about?
I met up with my old personal trainer and it was just for a catch up. And he was like, why are you not coaching? Like I said, he was really confused. Why are you not coaching? He says, you're a coach. And I told him, I'm doing the property. I need to do this first. I need to do this first. And I need to do this with my training before I can actually teach people. And he's like, you're not teaching people. And he's like, and you sound like you're really, in a hole right now. He goes, you need to make this decision. He goes, and it was about exactly a year ago. I started
Yeah.
coaching. Yeah, I first got in touch with the local gym. I was doing free workshops and that, but when I went to, I was a bit scared, no scared, but a bit apprehensive going to like my dad, my brothers and that, because I really did push more for the property education. They were all for it, but the problem was they were then more relying on me all the time, and they were like, "No, go for it. We'll take over. You help. Still,
Mm.
obviously, keep a hand in it." And yeah, yeah, I haven't looked back.
Look at the smile on your face. And
Uh,
here's the thing, that was probably a really scary conversation, and you probably, I don't know if you remember before you actually did it, and I bet you it went so much better
yeah,
than you ever could imagine. Because there will be people listening who they are scared of something. I'll give you an example with me. So it's probably not that dissimilar. On New Year's Eve, I didn't have any backup podcasts, and I knew that I wanted to release every Sunday my podcast at the same time every Sunday. So I knew that I had to record a podcast for the next Sunday myself, and it was actually really quite scary for me. And I was laying in bed in the morning going, oh my gosh, I've not got a guest. I've got to, um, I need to show up for myself. I've promised myself I'll show up on this podcast. I need to do one myself, and I need to just talk into the camera. And I remember lying there and thinking, right, this is really scary. But I've been on camera before, I've done short videos before, and how am I going to feel tonight? How am I going to feel tonight if I actually do this? And how am I going to feel tonight if I don't do this?
Yeah, yeah.
And it took me about 5 hours to get myself in front of the computer and actually do it. And I've had so many comments for people saying, you're so natural on camera. Why is it you don't get afraid? I'm like, oh my God, you actually really think I don't get afraid? And it's that same kind of thing, isn't it? Before you
Yeah.
went and told your family, you would probably had so many stories going through your head and so much, I can't do this. What are they going to say?
And I knew they would support me. I just felt I was a bit of a letdown to them. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? Uh, I just felt I was a bit of a letdown. I knew they would support me. It's just it was more internal with me. I really
yeah.
did. Because you know yourself, it's a lot of money with all the property, education, that stuff. But now it's gave me some sort of bit of confidence that if the coaching doesn't ever work out, I'm like, I've got so much utility. I can do. Do you know what I mean? I can do what I want. I feel a bit in power. Do you know what I mean? So
That's
it's.
amazing. Yeah.
I think a lot of people when they do stuff like that with the courses, it's like shit. They need to that make it work now to get the money back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I probably was last year. No doubt, I was probably like, "Oh my God, I'm walking away from it," but I've not walked away from it. I've not.
You've not.
I've learnt so much, especially pushing
And
your comfort zone and stuff like that. I've learnt so much, business
so we're
wise, just what I could do with myself. You know.
we're so similar in that respect because there's so many people in that educate we meet such incredible people, right? And there's so many people in that education who have really ran with the property, and I've not taken that avenue. And when I not yet anyway, and when I look back over the 18 months, I think it is, I have got so much value out of that of
Aye.
transferable skills and networking. And I don't think for me at the moment it was at all about the property. It's not till you
Yeah.
look back in hindsight. It was about networking with a certain type of person, 18 months of becoming who I am, and the transferable skills and growing in confidence.
Yeah. I totally understand. Like before I did the like property courses, education, I had the most comfortable life you can think of. I mean, really cushy job as a lift engineer, great work mates, good relationship with engineers, can take a holiday whenever I want, good pay, single guy, nice flat. Do you know what I mean? I would just work your average 8 to 4 during the week, train at night, drink at the weekends, party. Nothing changed. I was the same for 10 years.
Mm,
So, and I always knew I was made for more because I always wanted to better myself. I was always traveling or always best in my education, but I never done anything with it. So that was definitely push I need. So I don't feel like I've wasted money at all. I feel like, no, this has just set me up. And if you look, if you think, I've maybe been working now for 15 years, I probably have an extra 30 years of working. Do you know what I mean? Technically, of my adult life, I mean, maybe even more. It's a fraction. It is an
mm,
absolute fraction. So
mm.
it has definitely gave me the jump and the kick I needed.
And here's the thing, we'll talk about what you actually are doing in a minute, but here's the thing about you. You now know what it feels like to be doing what you love.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you stopped loving what you're doing now, you would have that reference point
yeah,
to an awareness to come to yourself and go, actually, is this fulfilling me? What's next for me? You've got that now.
Yeah. And doing the property education stuff, it's made me realize, have a plan and go with it. I was like thinking about, I'm at stage A thinking, how do I get to Z? And like making excuses to back out it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like plan, do, review, and improve. Do your next stage. You know what I mean?
We learned that, didn't
Yeah.
we? And
Yeah.
I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that for the viewers? Because I think that is so fundamental to the journey, because what I come across is, which is also fundamental, people who can visualize and manifestation, because my book was about manifestation. But this part is what is missing a lot
yeah.
in people's lives. So do you want to explain what that's about?
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was probably my biggest flaw. I would think about, say, stage A, how did I get to stage Z, and just internally shit it. Act confident, but I would make excuses to people. Yeah, I need to do this and that before I do this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just the excuses. And I remember when we first kind of learned with like Paul, the plan, do, review, improve, and I was going through a dilemma where I did like workshops for free to get my attention, and a lot of people wanted now to pay me. And I was just thinking about how to do the perfect workshop, and I just couldn't get it. And I
Yeah.
was like, just have a plan, do it. And I got good response. And I was like, okay, I can improve now. And now it's like a superpower. It's just test and measure, because you can only improve. And if it's shit, learn from it. Just
Yes,
learn from
because
it.
what's the worst? Test and
Yeah,
measure. I
what's
love
this? Yeah,
that bit.
test and
What's
measure.
the worst that can
I feel
happen?
like I'm just throwing different kind of workshops around with my fitness
Yeah.
and just playing
So
about what's
so
working
so
with clients. And do you know what I mean?
so what you're saying is plan, do, review, improve.
Improve.
So
Yep,
what
just
you're
keep.
saying is, okay,
It's
I'm going to plan a workshop, I'm going to do it, then I'm going to review it
yeah,
and tweak it and improve it. And it's about
yeah,
just getting it done, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Because it doesn't happen
And
unless you take that step, does it?
And and literally, I know we're going to get on to what I'm doing with the
Yeah.
coaching, but literally this time last year, I thought I cannot do online. It has to, because it's calisthenics and it's so
Okay.
niche. I thought I had to do workshops and one-to-ones. I now don't do that. Now I only do online. I
Okay.
only
Well,
do
let's
online.
let's get look
I'm
at the
sorry,
difference.
I've jumped the gun, but
Look at the
uh,
difference in your energy now. Like,
yeah,
so
I
we your energy has changed, and I just want to point that out, because this is the difference. When So the difference is, when you're living from this place of passion, right? When there's obstacles, there's a drive to get you through the obstacles. Plus, you lose time, you just keep going, don't you? And there's
yeah.
boundless energy. So let's now move towards, so you made that decision, this is what you're doing, you're into calisthenics. Anybody, I think, I wonder, I'll put a link to you things under this YouTube, but and we'll put some shorts on Instagram and stuff. What are you on Instagram again?
Sam Solid Southall.
Right, okay. That's what you're gonna find him.
So-
Just have a look, because the stuff he does is frigging out of this world. Amazing.
Thanks.
Um, so you decided to go ahead and concentrate on your calisthenics, and you've got free reign. So, and like you said, you had this set idea of how it was going to work, but what happened then when once you decided?
So when I decided, I thought, right, there was a gym, Commando X Fits in Hillington, fantastic gym, like fantastic gym. And I always recommend, maybe people are getting into coaching, like personal training, maybe trying like gyms that are locally built. They're not commercial. There's nothing wrong with commercial. I train at a commercial gym as well, but you can get a lot of help from people who's ahead of you. And I'm quite niched, so I made a deal with the guy. Says I'll do free workshops every Sunday if I could work there for free, just for a month. And I made a reel saying like I'll do free workshops, and I got like 60 people through the door. And I can only take like 4 or 5 people on at a time, because it's so unique when you're teaching handstands and muscle ups. You need to review, you need to see people like one on one. So that's how that started. And more people want the workshops after, and that's when I was like, right, I need to perfect this because I'm charging. And that's what was causing me stress, until I just went, fuck it, test and measure, just see what works.
And then what happened when you did that? That when you said, I can't, well, what I'm hearing is, you can correct me, I can't be perfect, I just need to do this. What happened then?
So I would just, let us say, I was So I ended up selling out for a full month of workshops after that. And I was just seeing what more I could add on. It was like some of them were different skills, some of them were all rounders. I would ask what people prefer. I would ask and everyone, I noticed everyone was like handstands and muscle ups. So I was just focusing that sometimes, where I was trying to do everything at once. Um, yeah.
And what
Uh,
surprised you? Did anything surprise you?
uh, Probably like we're probably going to go on to about how I could do online coaching because
Okay, well, that's okay.
people kept coming to me, can I do online? I was like, no, 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 I need to, it's only one-to-ones and um on workshops. And it was when a couple of people asked me, I was like, okay, I'll do it through like WhatsApp. And that's where it kind of started
What
growing.
happened? What happened then? Because life was kind of showing you something there, and it sounds like you were a little bit resistant to begin with.
Yeah.
So what
Again,
did you notice when you said you'd give it a go?
what did I notice? Uh, I realized, okay, I can talk a lot. So let's get demo videos. And I started giving, it was just through WhatsApp programs, I started giving demo videos.
Wow.
And then I realized I was talking to people so down England that are doing calisthenics coaching. I was like, all right, how do they do it in? Because I just thought, and they were telling me, no, you get apps, you can put your own videos in. So then I just started collecting videos and I was putting in, so I could see put it in programs, especially stages, because you can't. How can you WhatsApp somebody do handstand pulses like what you talk about, handstand bailouts, then away from what they're doing, um, and like muscle up transitions are like what you taught. You can't just write that out. It's not like saying do 3 sets of 8 bicep curls. It's totally different. So, and then they would send me a video, and I was like, and then I would give them a voice note adjusting the form.
Well,
Yeah,
so what you've done is you've done a tutorial using yourself,
yeah,
the different stages, and you've used one of these apps like School or one of these platforms
yeah,
that are app based, and then you've got other people to video themselves, and then you've been able, and I presume you can zoom in and out as well and pause
yeah,
and
yeah.
things that you couldn't
They,
even do in
yeah, yeah,
person.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
they can send that through the app. I get them to just WhatsApp me, my clients.
yeah.
Personally, I just get them to WhatsApp me. And sometimes it's good because they log the workout. So on the computer screen, they'd have the logged workout, and their videos, and then I would just give my voice note going over it. It takes 5 minutes.
Amazing.
Where it would be like
And
an hour, a half session.
wow. And that's
Yeah.
so and you could take that all over the world, and
Yeah.
it's a digital. I told you I was in the group that's the digital group, and the statistics that I see is that's where we're going now.
Yeah.
That's the way
Yeah.
forward. And wow.
Yeah. And it was about in May. I was totally overworked. Again, probably feeling overwhelmed, but in a good way. But I was doing my online clients in the morning, my full-time job, lift engineer,
Hmm.
training for well, I had a competition coming up, so I was training for a competition and then taking one-to-one clients and then workshops and Sundays. I was like, and then that's when I made the decision, no more one-to-ones, no more workshops, just online.
Mm. And how
Just
do you feel
online.
about that now?
Oh, brilliant. It's just
Yeah.
I have time. I have time. There was a point I had no time. I mean, I
And
still
you
feel like I don't have time with 2 jobs, but it's manageable and it's in the pace I can control.
and you're doing something that you love.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You do.
And
Oh,
again, I didn't think it was possible online.
yeah.
No,
So what I'm noticing is I see this so many times, and I've seen it in myself. We limit our possibilities by what we think we know. So,
yeah,
right when I first met you, you thought you had to do the property first.
yeah,
Then you opened up to things being different. Then you thought you had to do one-on-ones. Then you opened up to things being different. And that's only because you opened your mind up. But you could have still been turning up at those property events still and still limiting yourself. And what I've noticed, certainly on my own journey, is I can do that for as long as I want, right? Or I can get out of my own way and open up to other possibilities.
yeah. And see, you're saying the possibilities, you'd never know the opportunities that come up.
Yeah.
So I have a client, she has her own gym. her name's Jen. I'm gonna give her a shout out. She's just amazing, and I train her, and her gym's closed on every Sundays. So I've chipped in with her to install bars, and it's mine every Sunday. And I've got now about 120 demo videos for my app. So I am sorted for like my online
Yeah.
coaching's so sorted now.
And it's
I
happened in
counted,
flow just because
yeah,
you got, I keep saying got out of your own way. I don't,
yeah.
I'm trying to think how better I can frame that
I know what you mean, yeah,
because I think we go to school, don't we? And we're told things have to be a certain way.
yeah,
And
yeah. Get a
we,
job, get a house.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it doesn't always have to, I think, I think what I am kind of noticing is that you exposed yourself to a different environment where people have done things differently didn't necessarily mean that you followed what those people were doing, but it opened you up to the possibilities of not doing what you were taught through going to school, going to get a job, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful for my job, but I didn't know what a lift engineer was when I was in school. Even when I was leaving school, I applied for an electrician. I got a phone
Yeah.
call, do you want to be a lift engineer? I'm like, that sounds good.
That sounds good. I mean, you're lucky like me. I've only ever done one job that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah,
And I'm 55 and I'm really, really grateful. I can't imagine what it would be like. And I was only in that job for 6 months and I actually enjoyed the job. It was just the management team weren't very nice. So I've been really fortunate. I can't imagine what it would be like to go through a job every day that I didn't like.
yeah.
I can't. But in a way, to leave a job that I actually liked probably was harder than
Oh
leaving a
yeah,
job that I didn't
yeah.
like. Yeah. So what do you see in your the arena of coaching? I mean, you probably don't even know what's coming. Last time I saw you in person, you were getting your website built and you were being told that it was phenomenal. Is that now done?
No, it's not done yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
not
that's
done
on its
yet.
way.
It's still yet on its way.
And so
Uh,
what do you see next? Where do you see it evolving to next?
oh, so I've got just so many plans.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a YouTube channel for, I think I've got all my demo videos for my clients. I think now maybe I should start sharing my amazing knowledge, tutorials and that. Um, my online client's growing. I've got this Sunday, I've got my first online client meetup, which is
Yeah.
great.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
So
like,
that is this your clients coming
yep, they're all
together?
coming
That
together.
that is
Yeah.
brilliant.
And what's good as well, I'm not joking, like there's going to be at least half a dozen of them getting kicking up and holding like a 10-second handstand guaranteed because I get them on the wall and they're so good. Like, and so this is just about testing the moves, and I've got a guy coming in for content, just captioning it all because there's going to be a lot of wins. You know, there's going to be people getting the first muscle ups a lot. So it's going to be not like my workshops where I need to go through every detail. They know every detail. They are killing it. You know
That's
what I mean? I've got somebody got the first 10 pull-ups and they went from 0 to 10 in like 4 months. So I'm like, okay, let's get muscle ups in that now. So it's gonna be
do you know
exciting.
what else I noticed as well on this journey? Because I coach as well, but obviously different to you. Mine's transformational coaching with people. But what I actually notice on my journey is that the less you hold things close and protected and the more you give away. Because people, you're talking about a YouTube channel. People think that if you give too much away, people won't book you. But what
Yeah.
I've noticed is it's absolutely the opposite.
No,
The
totally.
more you give away, the more
Yep,
people are likely to book
100%.
you.
100%. I get kind of laughed at, Monday I was training legs and my gym partner was like, I'm showing literally three guys how to do a muscle up. He's like, you're meant to do legs. And I just get carried away for like half an hour. And they've all followed my Instagram and I've sent them drills. There's a couple of my clients, like they can perform some better moves than me, but they want to kind of, I'm a bit of an all-rounder, I kind of class myself as, and they want that. And I've gave them, structures and training plans and given, I'm not, and then now they're coming to me. like they can perform some things better than me, and they're coming to me for being as one of my clients.
And so
And
what do you
I've
do?
never gave them information to like thinking they can't just, you can't shut me up. So I'm just like, yeah, no, you read the rest of the line, and it just come back. I mean, I've always done that.
Yeah, and that's what I notice as well. So I notice I don't follow anybody on social media oddly. I keep it really clean because we obviously learned to be, I don't know if you remember it being said, to be a creator rather than a
A
consumer.
consumer, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
But the people that I do follow, it's because I'm getting really, really good content and it's educational, and
right,
I notice that they're not short of customers.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what other ideas have you got? Do you want to share them or do you want to keep them
I'm gonna keep
secret?
some of them, but to be honest, most of this year is being more of a creator,
Yeah.
because even though I'm saying like 120 demo videos got my phone, that's all for my internal clients. That's this 2024 has been really getting my kind of improving my service, and I'm like, right now I can expand it. Because like I said, this time last year I just started and I thought you couldn't do online, and now I'm only online.
Oh my goodness, who
and
knows where you're going to be at the end of
and yeah,
2025?
and that this Sunday I was again. I would have thought I'm going to do an online client meetup. I went, oh no, how would I structure that? Try to be a perfectionist, and I'm like, I'm doing it now because I doubted myself for a second. I'm like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I've gave every client, because I've not had that much structure. We're just doing a team warm up, and I've gave every client a task. Like that's what we're going to do, and it's just going to be relaxed. And I'm like, this is the perfect time to just pick my brains to go over anything you want.
So if anybody's listening to this now and they want to find you, because I remember a day about, oh my gosh, when was it? It was 2021 when I was doing a handstand with my daughter. And there used to be a guy that you could buy a program on how to do a handstand in so many days. And I never could find him again. But if back then, if I'd have known about you, I would have wanted to know where to find you. Because as it surprised you how many people want to do this type of thing.
Yeah. And that's maybe, well, speaking of keeping plans to myself, that is maybe I'm going to start maybe doing programs for the masses, because I know I'm not being boastful. I do have the best handstand program. All my clients, it's like, but my service is usually an all-in-one service. It's like like a client comes to me with all their goals, and I tailor programs to their goals. If somebody just comes to me for a handstand, I just give them free tips. I'm like, maybe I should start doing programs for the masses to help people out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like a digital,
Yeah.
you can download it and work through it
Yeah.
yourself.
And YouTube tutorials and stuff like that. But it's because I've been doing working full time now. I've kept my service simple.
Yeah.
It's like this is my service. It's kind of an all-in-one package, skills and building muscle through bodyweight skills, diet a lot. I've came from a background for like bodybuilding, martial arts, so I'm really
Mm.
tailoring to clients' goals. It's very premium. Say I would say premium is the word for it, but
Yeah.
not everyone wants that. Some people do have their own training. They just want to learn a skill, and I don't really. That's something maybe I should adapt.
So where would somebody, if somebody's been listening to this and I actually want Sam to sort me out, I want his skills, where will they find you at the moment?
Instagram.
Yeah.
It's the
I'll
only
put
social media I use. Yeah, Instagram. I
I'll
don't.
put it in the description
Yeah,
for this video as well.
yeah.
So it's really exciting. I can't wait to see where you go next. I'm probably going to
Thanks
have
very
to
much.
ask your dad or somebody who else to ask. And I'm thinking if all that happened in such a short space of
I
time,
know. I know.
and how young you are and how open-minded you are, and I actually just heard you say, I noticed I was frightened. I know, well, you didn't use these words, but I
Yeah,
noticed that there was resistance or whatever you said, so I'm going to do that. So you've got that mindset now, haven't you? I noticed
yeah.
there's resistance. I noticed I didn't want to do that. Oh, what's going on here? I better do it then.
Yeah. It was just before the holidays when I told my clients about the online meetup. Must have a little bit of doubt came in my head at one point over the holidays. Nah, I'm just giving myself another job now. Whatever. And I went, no, I'm fucking doing it. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing it. Like, as soon as that doubt came in my head, I'm doing it because that has been the last 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
A doubt comes in my head and I'd make an excuse not to. And
Mm.
I'm known for being quite cocky at my friends' confidence and stuff like that. But I realise it's just me making excuses a lot. So I'm like, no, soon as that doubt comes in my head, because it's no doubt. It's like I'd raise the bar to say no, I wouldn't do it yet. I'll need to do that such and such, X, Y, Z to do this.
That's really good level of awareness. And
Yeah,
I mentioned about fear earlier on, and I had a podcast guest. I've not put it out yet. And we've known each other for about 3.5 years. She met me in Mexico. And after we'd recorded the podcast, we had a right good chat and a catch up. And she said to me, I never see you have any fear, Joanna. I never see you
brilliant.
have any fear. And I've just learned, it took me a long time to learn this, not to give in to the fear now. In that, I know where I'm headed, I know where I want to be. What would you say that, because that's self awareness, you're
Yeah,
backing
totally.
yourself now. What would you say was the point when you started to realize, or had enough confidence to go, actually, no, I need to work through this, I need to just push on?
Um, it was probably exactly a year ago, all the way up till about April. It was like 3, 4 months of realizing that was my biggest weakness
Mm.
because it was it was a conversation with my old personal trainer, Jonathan Pugh, brilliant guy. He's like, you're just raising the bar. You're not coaching yourself. You're not coaching people at your level. It's people who want to become you at your level at calisthenics. And then it was delaying my workshops. It was just timing. I realized I've did this my full life. Every time I have a plan, I don't go from plan A to B. I try and think of Z. I get scared basically, and I'll make excuses and I think doing the property education stuff like that really pushed my comfort zone, really pushed my comfort zone, and I realized that's what's made me grown. Might not like it at the time, but that's what's made me grown. And it was probably since the last half of 2024, every time any doubt came in my head, I would fight it and do the opposite.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's,
And I
yeah.
feel like I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't. I have a book that I give to my clients. It's all things. We started off as just all things sleep, training, nutrition, because I felt like if I give them that, I don't need to lecture all the time. But then I added on a bit of mindset, and it was always
Mm.
pushing your comfort zone. I was like, I can't tell my clients to do that, and I never do it. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Because I once
yeah,
had a mentor who didn't live their work, and it was really disappointing for me
yeah,
because I'd followed them for a long time, and then I started to see that they didn't live what they were teaching. And at
yeah,
that time, I remember promising myself that I would do everything in my power to live what I taught. It's so powerful, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And we learned a lot of I've been into self-development since I was 22. So 33 years I've been studying manifestation and self-development. But we learned a lot about mindset, didn't we, in that education
yeah,
and how key it is. So I always ask two questions at the end of this podcast. I'm going to ask them you. I kind of know I think I know what you're going to say, but it's going to be really interesting. So my first question is, if you could go back to any point on your journey, and you are young, and I hope you
yeah.
realize how far you've come for the age you are at. If you could go to any point and you could give yourself some words of wisdom. No, I mean, it was all perfect, right? But if you could give yourself some words of wisdom, what point would you go to and what would you say?
Uh, it probably would be this time last year.
Mm,
Probably the exact words. Uh, you know, you aren't going to coach yourself, so why are you waiting raising the bar for yourself? Do you know what I mean? You
yeah,
want basically. Would I have loved me myself as a coach 5 years ago? Yeah, I would have. So
yeah,
people might be in that position you were 5 years, even last year, 2 years ago.
yeah.
So it's pretty selfish not to help them.
Absolutely. Somebody once said to me on a webinar, and I actually cried. I was on a webinar with quite a
Yeah,
few people, and I had to switch the screen off actually because it was quite emotional. She said, think of the people that really need your skill set right now, and they're being
yeah,
denied of it because you're not putting yourself out there.
yeah. Selfish, innit? If
Yeah,
you're not
it
doing it,
is.
yeah.
It is. And
And
yeah.
yeah, and again, sticking to that plan, do, review and improve. It is like a
Mhm.
superpower. Just have a plan and go with it and just improve. I'd have a plan and go, I can't do it yet. Can't do it yet. I need to X, Y, Z.
Have
It's
you
a,
ever, so with that plan, do, review, and improve, it took me a good year to even get into the way of that.
yeah,
And I ended up making it weekly for myself.
yeah. I don't even plan that
Did you
well.
ever, do
I
you ever,
just do
yeah,
it. I don't
you
even,
just do it?
I have
Yours
an idea
isn't.
now and I'm like, I should maybe plan a bit more.
So yours is more, I'm getting this done and then I'm
I'm
going
getting
to
it
review
done.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting it done. I'm getting it done. As soon as I have an idea, I'll call it idea.
it's
Do
getting
review,
done.
improve, then plan better.
It's getting done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting
Yeah.
done.
It took me a while to get into the way of that. And I think for me, it was more of, it was fear, actually. It's always fear
Sure.
that's getting in the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Always. And sometimes we're just pushed in the end. And so the last question is, if you could if you could only give one bit of advice and you could pay forward anything that you've learned, what advice would you give?
I'm only going to say this because I was having a joke with it's kind of like one of my clients slash training partner, and she's like, "How many times have you said that?" And I say it to all my clients, and it's less is more, but do
Mm,
more of the less.
oh my
That
God.
is, yeah, it is monumental. I actually done it just, but I first do it with my training because I think the vast majority of people overtrain. They don't need, you know what I mean? And I see some people's training structure and I'm like, half it, but put more effort into it. So yeah, less is more.
Oh
There's
my
so
God.
many things, so many distractions in people's lives, so many things. Eliminate it all. All that energy you're saving, put more effort into the things that matter.
Oh my God, I absolutely love that. I knew the other one that you were going to say, but I could never have known that was coming. And it's
Yeah.
really interesting because I'm actually been going through a period of doing exactly that. I think that covers every area
Yeah.
of life.
Yeah. My book, I'm actually writing a new section now called The Less is More Effect.
Really? Wow. And how do people get your book? Do they need to
Oh,
sign up with you?
yeah, they need to sign up with me. Aye, it's just something. It started off as something just like a as just so I don't lecture clients. But
Mhm.
I partnered up with a girl that just made this into this beautiful like
Mm.
ebook. And it's just, yeah, as soon as my clients sign up, they get it. And it's just like a gift. And it makes them feel welcome. And I'm like, it will challenge some of the things, the beliefs in fitness, which is
Yeah.
great. And it saves me lecturing, and it gives me a couple. Realistically, it gives me a couple of days to start programming the stuff, so they're not paying me and then waiting. It
And can
gets
you tell
them,
if they've not read it?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's brilliant. That is really good because they need to read it, right, to
yeah,
actually train with
yeah.
you. And if
And
somebody wants to sign up with you, as in, is there a different way? I know that, like we've said, where they can find you, but do you have different types of programs? Different, is it, or is it bespoke? Do you need to get to know that person? How do
yeah,
you have a call
so
with them? How does it work?
so on my Instagram bio, they can fill in an inquiry form, and the inquiry form has a list of everything it includes. So there's no hidden. It's like everything includes, and if they like it sound it, they can fill in the form and I book in a free consultation call to basically dial in their goals.
Mm. And it obviously, I know that I like to chat with a client before I take them on because
Yeah.
sometimes it's not a fit, isn't there?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I
Totally.
also, yeah,
I've
you
I think that's been a little bit my mindset as well since I still work full time.
hmm
I'm not like desperate to take clients on, and I have some
hmm
amazing clients right now I'm happy with. So I have that kind of thing. It's like, well, are you suitable for like the community I'm building here?
yeah, and it's got
Yeah.
to resonate, and that's good
Yeah.
for them as well. Because if somebody doesn't resonate, then you're
Yeah.
not doing them a favor taking their money, are you?
Yeah. Totally. Totally.
And they
Yeah.
need to be ready as well. Because I had a client 3 years ago, and I even knew when they signed up, it didn't feel quite right.
Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't till I looked back because they actually could have got more out of that. And
Yeah.
I realized they need to be ready and they need to bring their
I,
pumpkin self.
unfortunately, I had to let one of my clients go at one point. I mean, she was great, but she just the less and more effect. She has been used to going to boot camp classes and train till she's sick
Yeah. Oh,
and Jaime. And I'm like, it's like instead of doing 4, 5 sets, I'm like, no, 2 sets per exercise. Like smash it, like hit PRs. That's if you're hitting a personal record, you've grown, you've got stronger. She
mm.
didn't believe that. She would just do 100 stuff and cram, and she just kept doing it. And I was just like, this isn't my theory of training. Do you know what I mean? I rest like
I
three,
know,
five
yeah,
minutes
and that's
before.
you.
I rest
Because
like 3, 5 minutes before I set, and I would just like get some stretching in and relax, so I'm ready to go. But she was just no like had to kill herself.
and here's where that fits totally in with the ethos of this podcast,
Yeah,
that you're following your truth and you're following your heart, and that's the authenticity. That's what that's the whole thing about this podcast, is to get across to people, you be you. And even the majority of people, I would say, and very much myself up until 6 years ago, we tailor ourselves and change ourselves and think we have to be a certain way. But isn't it so freeing when you realize
yeah,
you be you, and that you can say, well, we're not a match, or you've decided I need to do calisthenics, not this over here. It's so freeing in the end.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Brilliant. Brilliant. It's been really good having you on here, Sam. I knew
Right.
we'd have a good conversation.
Thanks for having me. And
Thank
even
you.
like first time we met about 16 months ago,
Yeah,
yeah, you helped me push me a wee bit as well. You were like,
that's
follow,
good.
yeah. So
That's good.
I'm really glad I met you. Brilliant.
Good to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing where you're going.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Great.